Hello and welcome back to another tutorial. In this video I'll be sharing how to make a bustier dress with ruffle details on the shoulder, and if this is something you're interested in learning or knowing how to make, you want to keep on watching. So for this I'll be needing my wadding, my main fabric and the lining fabric. So these are all the materials I'll be needing to sew this dress. These are all the measurements you'll be needing: your bust circumference, waist circumference, hip circumference, shoulder to bust, shoulder to waist, as well as shoulder to length. So these are all the measurements that you'll be needing to make this dress and for this project. So on this pattern paper I have my body lines, which are the upper chest line, the bust line, under bust, as well as the waist, and I have my dart measurements as well. Now if you don't know how to take a basic dart or a bustier dart for your blouses or dresses, I have a detailed video and I will be linking that in the description box. Now from my shoulder to my upper chest line is 8 inches, and that is too low for the neckline, and to create the neckline I will be using 7 inches. So from that shoulder line I'm going to come down by 7 inches, then raise those darts to meet the line that I would be using for the neckline. So what I have done now is from that neckline, or from this shoulder line, I came down by 7 inches, which we have here. So what I'll be doing next is to raise these dart lines to meet up with that 7-inch line on the top, and it should look something like this. Next up, I'm going to be making the armhole from the front, which is from the side front of the darts. I'm going to connect a armhole that goes from that side all the way into this armhole here. So that would be for the armhole. Now because this is a sleeveless dress, you do not want the armhole to be too deep in or too steep, so you don't have your bust showing from the armhole. So you want to ensure that it's kind of slopey, but not, it doesn't go in too deep. So I'm just going to go do that and show you guys what the armhole looks like. After that, this is what the armhole should look like when you're done. So this is basically my front plan. No much requirement, just a basic bustier dart and straight neckline. The neckline is pretty much straight, but you can make it a sweetheart neckline if you so desire. Okay, so this is what the front plan is looking like. I am going to go ahead and cut it out, and it should look something like this when you're done. You can see that the armhole is not too deep into the side. So this is the center front, which I'll be cutting on fold, and the side front, which I'll be cutting 2 pieces of each. So now we'll be making the back plan, and for this we have the zipper allowance, the dart, as well as the body measurements. Now unlike the front that I came down the neckline by 7 inches, or I made the neckline 7 inches, I would not be doing that for the back because I do not want the back neckline to be too high. So I'll be using the 8 inches, which is my original upper chest line, or the armhole, whatever you want to call it. So that is what I'll be using for the back, and this is what it looks like when I have cut out the dart as well as the sides. So this is the pattern, or these are the pattern pieces that I'll be using for the upper part of this garment. Now to make the lower part or the skirt part of this dress, I basically folded my material into 4. You can see the zipper allowance, which is here, and this is folded into 4. Like I said, that's my waistline, my hip line, the length, and I added 2 inches at the bottom for hem allowance. You can see that I removed 17 inches from the waistline, and that is because I'll be subtracting the length of the upper chest. So this is my hip line, and that is the length of the garment. So it's supposed to be 36, but I added 1 inch because I felt 36 was too short, and I added another 2 inches for hemming. So this is what all the lines for the lower part would look like. Now from this folded edge here, not the edge that has the zipper allowance, the side that has the double fold. So this is the zipper allowance. That is not where I'll be taking my measurements from, but I'll be taking from this folded edge here, which is the center front. I'm going to take a quarter of my waist measurements, a quarter of my hip measurements, as well as the hem circumference of this dress. Now do note that whatever my waist measurement for the lower part is, I would ensure that it tallies to whatever the measurement for my waist circumference for the upper part is, just so everything is aligned and I am able to take darts for the lower part of this skirt. So having marked out all that measurement, I am going to go ahead and cut it out, ensuring that I do not remove the zipper allowance from the back. You want to take note of that so you don't accidentally cut it out. Now these are all my front pieces laid out here. I went ahead to cut out matching lining pieces. These are my back pieces. I cut out matching lining pieces for all of them as well. So what I'm going to do next is to join the darts of the front. Now I'll be ironing wadding onto the wrong side of my front fabric before joining the darts. Okay, so I'm going to join the dart of my front pieces together separately on the main fabric before joining the dart pieces of my lining fabric for the front. So I'll be joining fabric separately and joining lining separately. Okay, so I'll be ironing wadding onto the wrong side of the main fabric before joining the darts, and for the back I'll be joining the fabric separately and joining the lining separately. So you want to ensure you do them separately and not together. So you guys have seen me do this a couple of times, so I should believe that you understand what I am talking about. Okay, so I'm just going to go do that and show you guys what to do next. After joining the dart, this is what it looks like. You can see the wrong side, there's wadding iron to the wrong side of the main fabric. Okay, so this is what we have for the upper part of the front. For next I went ahead to cut out a piece of fabric or two pieces of fabric that are 2.5 inches wide and 12 inches long. Then I turned these edges over by stitching them and turning it right sides out, and this is what they look like. Now I'm going to take those straps of fabric and then I'm going to pin, ensuring that the side that has the stitch or the side that I used to stitch the straps together is facing me. So I'm going to place them on the edge of the dart. So the beginning of the strap would be on the edge of the dart. Just see what I'm doing and I'm sure you get a clearer understanding. So I want to place the end of the dart to the end of the strap. You do not want it to overlap it, so when you do that it should look something like this. I basically held it down with pins at this point, and this is what we have here. So what I'm going to do is to place the lining for the upper part of the front right sides facing, ensuring that the straps are in place and not moving. So you want to ensure that you pin that in place. So I've placed the lining over it right sides facing, and I'm going to stitch through the neckline and down the side. Okay, so I'll be stitching from this end towards the top, over the neckline and down the other side. So I'm going to do the same thing for the front and the back. So you can see that one end of the strap is inserted in the front and the other part is inserted in the back neckline. So this is what it looks like when turned over. You can see that it looks really neat from both sides. This is the front piece. You can see that the strap is enclosed between the lining and the main fabric. So this is what we have currently. So what I'll be doing next is to attach the lower part of the skirt to either side. So for this, I'm going to sew on a dart on the lower part of the skirt before attaching it to the waistline of the upper part. So you are going to do this for the front as well as for the back. Having attached it, this is what we have currently. Just basically attach the waistline of the front to the waistline, or the waistline of the top part to the waistline of the lower part. For the back, I went ahead to attach a zipper to the center back, and this is what we have. So what I'm going to do next before joining the sides is to attach a ruffle to those straps that we inserted earlier. So I'm going to create ruffles for those straps. Now the total length of this my strap is now 11.5 inches because I used half inch to stitch it down to either side. So what I have now is 11.5 inches. I'm going to cut a piece of fabric 3 times that length. So I'm going to cut a fabric that is 33 inches long and 12 inches wide. Okay, because you want to make gathers, and to make gathers you need enough fabric to make it fuller and to give it that puffiness when you stitch it down. Okay, so I cut out two pieces of fabric that are 13 inches wide and 12 and I cut out two pieces of fabric that are 12 inches wide and 33 inches long. Okay, so these I will be stitching around the perimeter first. I'm going to stitch all the way around. It's tiny double fold all the way around just to close those edges before running a straight stitch through the middle that I'll be using to create the ruffles. So first of all, I'm going to stitch all the way around with a tiny fold, and this is what it looks like after it has been stitched. You can see it's a really thin fold, and I ran a stitch through the middle, as you can see here. So that stitch that runs through the middle, I'll be using it to make gathers for this fabric before attaching it to the band on the shoulder. So I'm going to go ahead now and drag that thread and make ruffles on this piece, or use this piece to make ruffles. And this is what we have after it is done. You want to ensure that when you drag, it all comes down to the exact measurement of your band on the shoulder. And I'm going to stitch this to the band of the shoulder, wrong sides facing up, just the way it is, so that when you stitch it down and flip it over, the right sides kind of overlap, and it should look something like this, as you can see. Having attached the ruffles to the shoulder, I'm going to go ahead and join the sides of the front to the sides of the back using my body measurement. So I'm just going to join the sides together, and this is the final look. I love how simple it is, yet so beautiful and elegant. And yeah, it turned out to be quite short, but I don't mind that at all. This is the back view, really nice, really fitted along the back. And yeah, let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section. Leave a comment, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, comment and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and I'll be seeing you guys in another one. All right, bye.